Hey Travis, guess who's back?
Santa Claus?
No, well, maybe the Santa Claus if the gift was murder and samurai and evil Scotsman.
That was on my list.
That's right, Jack is back, and who's here to talk about his return? Why, it's me, Nick, the Merc with a mic, and my fellow apologist,
Travis.
And we're going to try a little something new, changed up the form since we've lost some content. We're going to put the Netflix and Kill on at least hiatus for a while, and so I thought maybe we could go through some of the other stuff we've been watching lately and do some mini reviews for it. Mm-hmm. So we've caught up on Samurai Jack.
50 years have passed. But I do not age. Time has lost its effect on me. Yet, the suffering continues. Aku's grasp chokes the past, present, and future. Hope is lost. Gotta get back. Back to the past. Samurai Jack.
Up to episode 5,
Yep, season 5, and we're up to episode 5, so I thought it'd be appropriate for us to check in on it and see how's it going. So, yes, the return, Genndy Tartakovsky is returned as the director and bringing back his long-lost project, very critically acclaimed. Mm-hmm. You watched Samurai Jack previously, correct?
Oh, yeah.
I watched it all the time as well. I don't think we are both 90s kids. So
I don't think this was actually a family show for me. Like, this is something that my family actually all like to watch together.
It's because it's a really interesting show. There's not quite another show like it. And I think, what do you feel about the new show, the new season, how it's been brought back?
It does feel very return to form. I mean, it seems a bit darker at times.
Well, they've moved to Adult Swim,
yes.
So they can show blood, they can say things like kill, and even, like, I think there's even some mild swearing, like people are saying hell and stuff like that.
Right.
I cannot believe how much like the old show it feels like.
It does. Like, the enemy's same. You know, obviously the voice actors are unfortunately not all the same, but...
Sure, but we still got Phil Lamar back as Samurai Jack. We have Grey Delisle back as this mother assassin character. We have Tara Strong as a new character. We even get, spoiler warning, because we are going to be spoiling these episodes as we go. So if that's not what you're into, you want to go and see cold, I would highly recommend you do so. But spoiler for episode 5, we get fucking John DiMaggio back as the goddamn Scotsman. What?
Well, technically he dies, but then it's fine because he comes back as a ghost.
Yes. Okay, because that was my big worry, was because it was like, it's going to be because it's set 50 years in the future.
Yes.
And I'm like, man, does that mean we're not going to see Scotsman? Man, that sucks. I love Scotsman. And then he shows up in an old fucking grizzled badass. He's got an eye patch that's also made out of plaid. He's got his goddamn magic sword, and he's got his fucking machine gun peg leg that he's also carrying around while he's in a wheelchair.
Yep.
And he rides up to fucking Aku's palace to wreck shit with some like 2 other armies, and but they don't have Jack or the sword. It's basically all pointless. He's got like an army up of his fucking daughters, and I'm just like, yeah, fucking the Scotsman is back in town, baby. And like, another dark moment where Aku just lasers his ass and just like
leaves nothing but a skeleton.
Ho! And it's weird because it's like a dark moment that's also like ends this funny moment of like, hey, I'm back and I'm in my prime. Well, this is fucking amazing.
Like, Aku's this large ass red lesbian because he's bored. He's pained. And then leaves nothing but a skeleton, which then turns to cinders. And it's like,
Okay. And he's all disappointed because he dared to bring up the samurai, and that's what puts him back into this melancholy state. But now that we've caught up, important character being the Scotsman, let's catch up with some of the side characters, like Jack.
Yes, we can go back to
him. We got to talk about Jack a little bit. So we open with a great opening of Samurai Jack on this fucking motorcycle and weapons of like death, and he comes out and it's like he has like a fucking spikes on the back wheel, and then he rips some shit up there. Then he's got some it's a front wheel, and then he got spikes on the back wheel. I'm like, okay, the front spikes were rad. Okay, that's radder. And then he pares down to using more like different types of weapons, and we notice
he's got like an armory in his pocket.
And we notice almost immediately he does not have his magic sword. So yeah, that's a great opening, and a great opening episode because we also are flashing back between him going around, driving around the countryside, Ronin style, like not really purpose, with the daughters of Aku, I guess is what they're called.
Yep.
And they are brought up and raised to kill Jack from birth. And we don't know if they have accelerated aging or whatever, but it doesn't seem like it. It seems like their whole lives, all they've known is that we were training to murder this samurai.
Right. They were basically cut off for any outside distraction. They were basically kept in this cave their whole lives.
The main one being Asha. I think they're all voiced by Tara Strong, but I think the main one is Asha, and she's definitely voiced by Tara Strong.
Yep.
And they're brainwashed into thinking Aku is like this great benevolent leader, but they don't see the outside world, so they don't see how fucked it's been because of Aku. So yeah, the first episode actually does it involves this Scatman Crothers like robot guy who beatboxes and uses musical instruments to fight Jack.
Pretty cool fight.
It's a really neat fight, and you get the sense that, like, especially in the next episode where we finally catch up with Aku, what Aku's been doing. And Aku is depressed, and he doesn't know what to do, and I'm like, I don't know, but it's like he is, like, not content because he can't go outside.
Right.
Like, he's bored, and I'm not sure, because it doesn't seem like he's afraid, but I guess he is, because he won't go out himself to go look for the samurai. Instead, he's chosen to take this really tactical retreat and destroy all the portals to the timeline, and to just wreck them all and hide it out and wait for Jack to die of old age.
Yep.
He's decided to wait it out, just wait the samurai problem out.
Which, I mean, when you're an immoral being of all evil, I guess I could see that.
So yeah, because he in the original series he had a lot of close calls with Jack.
Yeah.
Jack almost had his number quite a many time, and we've been shown that in a straight up fight with the magic sword on Jack's side, Jack wins like every time. So Aku has to send out minions and hope one of them gets lucky.
He has to plot and swindle and
so he no longer feels safe risking going outside of his fortress. And Jack's in a similar boat without the sword. He can only do so much good and so much out in the open without Aku realizing at some point he doesn't have the sword anymore. And once Aku realizes he doesn't have the sword, that shit's over. Like it's all downhill from there. So it's very important that Jack doesn't draw attention to himself, and we see that he loses the sword at some point where, as of episode 5, we don't see how or if it couldn't be covered or what, but he's without a mission, he's without a plan, and he's gone through 50 years, and apparently because of time travel, he can't age anymore. He's somehow tied with the time energy, I guess. And he's being tortured by visions of, like, his family being murdered.
He's got a little PTSD going on.
Because he's basically failed his mission, and there's no way to, like get out of it for him. So he just doesn't, he's just going on doing as much good as he can on the side and just kind of drifting. And it's very interesting to see because Tartakovsky is a fantastic director when it comes to this sort of things, because he's not afraid to because mostly when you think of animation, you think of things constantly moving and things being very fast and going from one scene to the next and the next and the next to really hit stuff home, especially in very short length episodes. Right. But Tartakovsky will at a lot of points let scenes move slow and very slow, methodical movement.
Well, there's one episode we basically see everything Jack's doing from another vision of a wolf doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Like, as a giant metaphor. And this whole entire this first part of this episode just goes really slow and shows you like, everything happening twice. And it's actually really cool.
And that's the thing is that he just because it's a cartoon, he treats it with the respect and reverence of a true samurai film. And because that's what it feels like. It feels like a samurai film of just these long shots of the environment, of Jack just doing the mundane things, of letting a scene breathe and us take it in for all that it is and what it means to the characters, what's going on. And it doesn't happen all the time because there is quick action in this as well. But it is refreshing to see that level of love, care, and a quality that I don't think other people have tried to through over the years. Animation's gotten really good. They've done a lot with it. We have shows now like Adventure Time, Steven Universe, and even more, like Young Justice, even really changing up the formula. But no one can capture Tartakovsky his vision.
It's oddly timeless.
It's fantastic, and I'm so glad it's back. I can't tell you how much how when I sit down to watch it, I'm like transported back to high school or even middle school before that, when I was really watching it, because I was really into it in middle school, and it just feels the exact same, and it's great. It's fantastic how he was able to capture it again. Although there are differences of the darker tone of like this nihilistic feel of it, like this it's odd because it feels like we had the X-Men story of this, like with Old Man Logan. It's like Old Man Jack. In this. Yeah. And, so we get the daughters of Aku, chase down Jack, and during this episode where like they show that they're a formidable force, and Jack's kind of on his knees because he's dealing with his PTSD. He's not where he needs to be to do this fight.
Right. And
he barely gets away from them the first time while murdering one of them.
Yeah. Well, also realizing that he didn't murder a robot.
Yeah. The first time he's actually killed a person, and it triggers it's like this flashback of him where the first time he saw his dad murder people. And we've never seen that from his perspective. Never seen we know his father was a samurai, and we've always in tune in our kid logic is like, okay, he's probably killed some people, but they show that on TV. It's different when you see it, and you see the blood that Jack sees on like his dad's. Well, his dad was
actually the emperor, wasn't he? Like the ruler.
Yeah, he was the ruler of this whatever state they were in. I don't know. And they track him down. They kill the guards, and his dad just walks out, lays down this speech on him of like, hey, destiny may have brought you here. It may have brought me here, but I'm going to give you a final chance to change your destiny. Leave now, or you can face what's coming to you. And it's like this badass line, and he kills them all, and Jack sees it.
Yeah, he's watching the whole time.
And he has his dad has this conversation with him afterwards of just like, hey, your choices have consequences. My choices have consequences, and their choices had consequences. And no one will go through life no one will go through life without making a mistake and having to face consequences for your actions. But you can choose what path you lead down to at certain points, and it's a thing that Jack has always taken to heart. And he's never had to kill an actual person before. Robots are cool, I guess, because no matter how sentient they are, they've already been programmed by Aku.
Yeah,
they're evil to their core. They're programmed that way. He doesn't have any reservations of killing them.
There's no way of changing their destiny, I guess.
No, because they're programmed a certain way. These daughters of Aku, as corrupted as they are, as evil as their mentality might be, we're molded that way by Aku, and the Jack still sees a chance for light for them. So he gives them the same speech later down the line after the wolf episode. Like the wolf episode really comes to its conclusion, and he just decides like, okay, I gave you your shot, and he fucking murders them all.
Like, apparently that's what the flashback really did, was like, alright, and we unlocked the killing mode.
Yeah, and they treat Jack like this abominable samurai, like this monster on this snowy wasteland, and he kills all of them except for the leader, Ashi. And that episode ends with them both falling off of the side, and then the next one kicks up, and they spend an episode in the belly of a whale together, Monstro style.
Yeah, just like for some reason the whole entire ground they landed on was actually a giant whale monster.
And that's just like Tartakovsky too, of creating a whole new environment of inside this creature's system, which is we've seen before even in the series.
Well, yeah, I mean, his style is always really interesting because it goes from this weird knife to this awesome fantastical in like a split second.
Well, it's like the whole metaphor for the show too, because they do it really unsubtly at a certain point where it's just like in the belly of the greatest darkest beast there is light. And that's the whole way for all the environments in Samurai Jack. Most of it is post-apocalyptic, fucked up, smog-covered wasteland. But even then, Jack will find this area of color, of this...
Well, they went to Aku City, and it's like the greatest den of evil, and it's like shop vendors on the streets, just selling goods.
And then from the outside, you're like, whoa, that place is fucked up. But then even in the shop, there's bright colors, there's like, Jack gets his pimp suit there, which is hilarious. And then of course, Ashi, as soon as she spends at least a little bit of the outside world, she starts to question, like, okay, maybe everything I do isn't right, because there's no way, like, one dude with a sword could do as much damage to the fucking world. Yeah. Like, he's like, you're the reason that this world is destroyed. I was told, and I'm like, how? I do that. Like, Aku's the one with the corrupting power. Like, I love that because, like, even as brainwashed as she is, they go through that episode of her, like, okay, show me. And it's like, well, you want me to show you? You think I can't? Okay, here we go.
Yep, here it is.
And he shows her, like, this forest that used to be this great forest, and there's only one tree left. Like, well, why is there only one tree left? It's just so that people can remember that this was once here and that he destroyed everything else. And it's like, that totally makes sense from Aku's perspective, because no one would appreciate how much he destroyed unless there was something to compare it to. And I'm like, wow, Aku's such an asshole. And it really comes through when we actually get context for a certain thing too, of like why all these crazy aliens and like crazy technology is now on Earth. We get like an answer for it. It's like dropped like it's nothing, because we see an immigration office where like alien alien exiles have been banished from their home planets or whatever.
They're the scum of the scum.
Yeah, they're like the hive of scum and villainy is now the Earth. We're an entire planet of Mos Eisley, because they're like, yeah, we heard Aku takes people of our types of persuasion. You know, children killers. And it's like, oh yeah, we're totally cool. Here, take this sector. And they show this sector of like, it's like a Teletubby. It's just like, it's sunshine and rainbows. Like, oh, it looks like it's occupied. Is that a problem for you? Oh no, we'll take care of that. And I'm just like, wow. And yeah, even Ashi, as brainwashed as she is, like, wow, that's pretty cut and dry right there.
Yeah.
Can't spin that pretty effectively. That's, and yeah, they even meet up to a point where she becomes like it only takes her 2 episodes to be kind of a full-fledged good guy. Actually,
they do kind of show it in the flashback. She was the one character kind of questioning it, like in their upbringing. Like, I saw a ladybug. It was pretty. Why'd you murder it? Because her turnaround is pretty quick. They do make a point of showing her that anytime she sees life or color, she's immediately interested. Like, it does take her attention. Like she's the one that had to like beat down the most to become Aku's puppet.
Because she has the most inherent curiosity out of all of them. Like, she has seems to have the most imagination.
Which convenient that she's the only one that survived.
Well, I do like that, because Jack just decides, like, well, I can't really kill her. I'm like, well, what about all her other sisters? Yeah, well, there were a lot of them, so once I nailed it down to one of them, it's a little more manageable.
Right.
So
he literally straps her up using her own weapon as a backpack for a part of the episode.
And it's weird because, like, yeah, she seems to be kind of with Jack to the point where once she's convinced, she's like, okay, what do we do? Like, let's kick his ass. Let's take the fight to him. And Jack just goes, nothing. We can't do shit. Like, he's too powerful. Like, without the sword, everything's fucked. Like, I got nothing on this. And it's like, well, And she's like, "What? There's got something." I'm like, you think you just came to the fight? I've been doing this for 50 years. Trust me, if there was a way to do it,
Well, 50 years plus whatever the original series was.
yeah, I know how long that shit was. It could have been years upon itself, a decade maybe. We don't really get any context for it. So hopefully in the next couple episodes, we see some sort of plan form together to maybe get the sword back.
Right.
But in this end of the episode, we fight zombie children.
Yes. That was terrifying.
That was pretty terrifying. We get like little, like they're almost mini beasts from X-Men. And we have like this torturer guy that has to charge up his torturer device like it's an iPod.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
I mean, good thing it probably was made by Apple because it needed a very fast recharge time.
Yeah, that battery life did not save him.
No.
Yeah, Apple, your eye torture device needs charging. So yeah, and because they destroyed the signal, it shorts out the signals in their neck, and it really looks like all those children got killed.
Well, it looks like I electrocuted them all.
And I was sitting here, and I'm like, okay, in the previous Samurai Jack, there's no way these kids would be dead.
No.
But in this Adult Swim version, I was like, and then they went a long time without really having any of them open their eyes. I was just like, and then the whole, cause Jack's been seeing this weird Grim Reaper of a samurai come around to shepherd him, like, is it time? Like, to shepherd him into the underworld or something? And Jack's like, yeah, it's time, I just killed a bunch of kids. And he takes him away, and I'm kinda like,
Well, I kind of assumed that was like a vision of Aku.
And, you know, Ashi comes around, and the children finally open their eyes,
Yes.
and it's like, oh, fuck. How is that, though? Like, it adds that tension, because I really legitimately didn't know if they were going to murder a whole bunch of kids. Like, it's like, my God, that's so dark.
I mean, they already murdered all of the people in their village.
Well, Aku just ripped apart an army by bowling balling them all to death, and it's like played off as kind of a joke, and you just kind of go, fuck. And even Scotsman comes back as a ghost, but he still got fucking killed on screen in a really horrible fashion.
Yep.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see. We're only 5 episodes in. I think it's a 12-episode run, if I am not mistaken. So there's a lot of it to go. We're not even to the halfway point yet.
No.
I don't know. What we got for future predictions? Where do you think this is going? Because the predictions I had were that Ashi would team up with them.
Well, that was a pretty obvious one.
I thought it would take longer.
Yeah, it went quick.
I thought it would take a lot longer than that. But
I guess if they want to keep going with the plot, they had to kick it up a notch.
But maybe they're gonna develop her a little bit more to where she has a crisis of faith, or maybe we'll have to face off against her mother, that sort of thing.
I'm guessing the mother might know where the sword is.
Okay.
And she might actually have to be the one to go to retrieve it. And she'll join up with the army that will have to then go find Jack, who is, I don't know where.
Yeah. I kind of like this, though, because it works the same way as Laura, like X-23 did in Logan, having the old grizzled one take the new girl under his wing.
Yeah.
I really like that. And I at some points it feels like it's moving really fast for me, but they only have 12 episodes to get this shit across. So, I don't know, we'll have to see.
Yeah, it kind of gives a fresh perspective to the whole thing.
Yeah, and sometimes the metaphor is a little obvious, like it's a little on the nose, but then I remember it's still a show that kids, well, not this one, because they kill a lot of people. Like, I wouldn't show this to really young kids. But I would show it to like 12, 14-year-olds or something like that.
With adult supervision.
Because it's not like it's super gory. I mean, just the fact that they show blood is actually pretty visually disturbing. But yeah, as far as a return, I don't think I could have hoped for anything better.
He does have one other little PTSD quirk that's kind of interesting, is that he talks to a different version of himself at times.
Dick Jack?
Dick Jack, yes.
I love Dick Jack.
Dick Jack is pretty funny.
He is an asshole, man. He is constantly shit-talking Jack and just like telling him like, oh, you're finally a murderer now. You're finally a big boy. What do you feel about that?
It's just so weird watching, Jack, who is such a solemn character, basically badmouth himself. And he's got to say, like, well, you failed. The mission's failed. We should probably just die because that's the best thing that could happen.
Well, Phil LaMarr is pulling a lot of, not only double duty, but, like, triple duty in this, because he's also, not only is he Jack, but he's evil Jack whenever he's talking to himself, because Jack needs a person to talk to and bounce off of in the first couple episodes before Ashi arrives. And he's also the underling of Aku. Like, he's that little AI system. I guess he's like evil Jarvis, I guess. Because we never see him, but he's always that voice that is like, the base is being attacked.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's interesting that they use Phil LaMarr's voice as the AI. I'm not sure if that says anything about Aku and his mental state. That maybe he wants, maybe it's a metaphor for, like, you know, Jack is always present even in his lair. He's always in his mind.
That'd be fucked up, man.
Or it could just be a cute little cameo to give Phil LaMarr something else to do.
It could. It's hard to say.
But yeah, he even has Aku, and it's a funny little moment of him giving himself therapy.
Yes.
This show has always balanced that tone of, like, really serious material with some really funny, even Looney Tunes level jokes at certain points.
It's weird because Aku is the being of ultimate evil, is the main bad guy of the show, but he's also the main source of comic relief. Mm-hmm. Like, it's this weird contrast with him.
Well, as someone who watched this, like, the shows like CW superhero shows, I so rarely, like, especially with Arrow, I'm so rarely surprised or feel anything when anyone dies or gets hurt on it. And in this show, in just the last 2 episodes, I exclaimed out loud, "Holy shit!" Like, multiple times, because I couldn't believe, like, what the thing I was seeing on screen. Like, the main one being the Scotsman death, I was just like, oh, whoa.
That's gonna haunt your nightmares, isn't it?
It was harsh, because I really liked his old look, and I was so happy he was back. At the height of me being happy that he was back, and him facing off one-on-one with Aku, he just, like, in the middle of his ranch, just gets fucking taken out like it's nothing. Like, there's no ceremony to it. It's just like, no, you're a fucking bug to me. And I was like, damn, it's so dark.
Also, Aku may have killed the last of the rhinos.
He might have. I don't know. Those other armies, I'm not sure where they got. But it does show that even 50 years in the future, there are other, you know, people that are just sick of Aku's.
Yeah, there's still a resistance.
There's still a resistance force, and apparently over this inspired other people to fight back. So that'll be interesting to see who else they can cobble together. They'll get even some more of the previous characters, although the Scotsman was like the main recurring character. And I don't know if anyone else came back for any of the other episodes.
I'd have to rewatch the series again.
Yeah, everyone else, I think, even the Scotsman only came back for like 3, but he was the only real recurring character that I can remember. Yeah, so hopefully we see more of him and his ghost form. I'm really interested to see where Ashi goes, what they do with her, because obviously her story's not done yet.
No.
She has to have a little more inner conflict.
So obviously have to confront her mother at some point.
That'll definitely be interesting. I like Tara Strong's voice acting in this. She's always really fantastic. Good. When she was yelling at Jack at one point, I actually heard a little bit of Timmy Turner come through. Hello. I was just like, oh crap, he's getting yelled at by Timmy. Watch out, Jack. You may have a magic sword, but he's got like magical fairy odd parents he can send at you.
Then again, if you go into any of her voices, they could be a threat to Jack. I mean,
sure.
Boil down to it.
I don't know. Obviously, it's still really early in the series, and it's not like there are a couple things that I wish like were a little more subtly done rather than really in your face with the symbolism. But man, other than that, God, just this animation, just watch. I could watch this show without any dialogue, and I wonder how much of the story I would get. Just from the visuals. I'd probably get a lot of it.
I mean, they have done whole episodes with no dialogue before, so.
Oh, sure. I just the way he frames a shot and just how a leaf falling can tell a story within a couple seconds of the shot. And it's fantastic. I can't even express to you how happy I am that it's back. Yeah, let's bring back all of the 90s stuff. Let's bring it all back. Cat Dog, I want that back.
Actually, I would watch that.
You'd watch that. You'd watch Hey Arnold.
Yeah, actually.
We'll watch Hey Arnold again.
Oh, you're talking Golden Age Nickelodeon. That's different than bringing back all of 90s.
I'm bringing back 90s animation. Let's bring Gargoyles back, Darkwing Duck, DuckTales is coming back.
Yeah,
Holy
DuckTales
shit.
is coming back, dude.
Everything is back. Let's bring back Tailspin. You know what? You can leave Tailspin behind.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't really have anything even more good to say about it.
Not yet.
Not
Gotta
yet.
watch more first.
Did you have anything to add before we wrap this one up?
No, I'm thoroughly enjoying this. I can't wait to see what more crazy machines and monsters they can make for Jack to fight.
Yeah, it's Tartakovsky's his last chance to get whatever crazy fucking thing out of his system
Right?
before we wrap up Samurai Jack. So he's gonna put whatever it is that he had cooking around in his mind that he really wanted to do before the series end. We're gonna see it.
Well, let's remind him of that. Like, this show did the 300 scene before 300 did it.
Yes, they did.
That's pretty funny.
Yes, they did. That is hilarious. We almost got that back with like the Roman tank people too.
Right.
I was just like, yeah, and man, I can't wait because we've already seen in episode 5, we've already seen a giant monster swallow them and find a whole new ecosystem.
With a skeleton fish.
Yeah, with skeleton fish that also had enemies and shit in it, and I'm just like, I can't wait to see what the next visually fucking cool thing is. But yeah, with that, let us know what your thoughts are on Samurai Jack. If you want to disagree with us, do you want to tell us like how much we're wrong?
Actually, we don't want to hear that.
And it's nowhere near as good as the original series. Send me your mail and send me an address while you're at it, so I can find you and verbally disagree with you, because that's what I'll do. But yeah, you can do that by leaving a comment at our webpage at unapologeticgeekout.com. You can give us an email, unapologeticgeekout@gmail.com. You can leave us a message on Facebook, maybe give us a like while you're there. And if you would like to help the podcast out, maybe give us a 5-star review on iTunes, help out our visibility. And whatever goes in that the review box, I will read on the air, on the regular episodes, word for word. That is my guarantee. So if you want to write me, your version of Aku's therapy or whatever, because I'm interested in like what Aku must talk to his therapist about. Like, what are your theories on it? That I will read that out on the air, because I don't have any. There's no limits at all. But yeah, until next time, we are Unapologetic Geek Out, and we're out.
Check.